Sahana vavatu, sahano punaktu, sahaviryam karavavahe, tejasvinavadidamastu, ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Can you really be unattached to the outcome? Can you be unattached to what happens in your life, in every moment, with every dream, with every vision that you are putting out there? Can you remain unattached to what happens in the end? Today's episode is about this topic and how becoming unattached will set you free. Namaste and welcome to the Spiritual Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra Savitri Amba, Director of the American Reiki Academy, Los Angeles' oldest Reiki school, and the Vedic Healing Center. I'm a Reiki master, Vedic Healing master, clairaudient channel, and healer who has practiced and taught spiritual self-development and healing for more than 35 years, led pilgrimages to India, and studied with blessed Indian gurus. In this show, we cover topics related to metaphysics, Reiki, Vedic healing, manifestation, spiritual growth, and feng shui, based upon my studies and work in these disciplines. The aim of this show is to help you awaken, develop, and tap into your spiritual power so that you may live well, manifest your dreams, and ultimately fulfill your unique divine destiny by working from the inside out. It all begins with energy. Welcome to today's episode, which was prompted by morning meditation, and the topic is being unattached to the outcome. So you, I, all of us have hopes and dreams and visions and goals we're working on. And we do our best in the world to create these things, to kind of make them happen. But there is an interesting energy that is very integral to the success of any project and really the success of our whole life, and that is the energy of unattachment. And so this word and this phrase, the phrase was that I wrote down today, can you be unattached to the outcome? This is the phrase that came to me really strongly. And I started thinking about how we work so hard to draw to us what we want and to accomplish, again, these goals, these projects that we have. But often there is a hold that we have on the outcome. See, we think we want something to happen, and maybe we've given up the how, so we've accomplished that, and we say, okay, I know that this may happen in many different ways that I can't even fathom. I have accepted that there is an infinite number of possibilities. I've used this phrase before in past episodes, and I like this phrase, an infinite number of possibilities. with anything that's occurring in your life. So I've accepted that. I know there are many ways this can work out, and yet we remain still attached to the outcome. We may know, okay, it's not going to happen in the certain way that I think it's going to happen, but I still want it to happen. I want this thing to happen, and I want this to be the result. So it sometimes is a kind of a personal challenge. It's a challenge of ours to really just let go of this outcome. I always say this is the soft challenge. So it's not exactly a lesson that we need to learn, but a soft challenge. If you think of something in your life right now and you think, okay, I'm going to give up the way this is going to look. I'm going to give up all the details that I've given to the universe, and I'm going to even give up the time frame. I know that things will manifest in accordance with divine will and divine timing. And I'm even going to give up all the people I think are supposed to be involved and all the intellectual knowledge that I have about this. I think I've done a lot of work and I've figured out all the steps. I'm going to just give up everything. And so you think you're making a lot of progress, but actually you are hyper attached to the outcome still happening. Now, what if that thing doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen at all? Can you be okay with that thing not happening in your life? I'm going to tell you a funny story that might relate to this. So one year when I was with Guruji in India, I wanted to record mantras in India in a recording studio there and published them in CD form at that time. And I had this idea that I wanted this to happen, and I wanted it to happen during this trip, and I wanted Guruji's blessings. So the experience went like this. We would go and study with Guruji, and we would sit in his home every day, and he would teach. So when I was there, usually I was the only foreigner there, although he taught people from all over the world, but often I was the only one there during my trips from another country. So it was all Indians and me. And sometimes the room was full, and sometimes there were just one or two other students and me. So I was with someone at the time who was helping me with this project, and he said to me, you'd better mention to Guruji when you're leaving, when you're flying out, and make him aware of the time frame so that this recording project happens. And I said, okay. So I told Guruji and told him of my desire to record these mantras, and he said, he was always so willing to help us with any of our projects that moved along spiritual teachings. And he was very thrilled with this idea. And he said, oh, yes, that's wonderful. And I know this musician and that musician, and we'll do it. And yeah, I know how this will come together. I've got the right people. And yes, we'll make it happen. So he said, come tomorrow at 11 a.m., and I will have this music director here, and we'll start the process. So the next day I came to his house, And the way you would know how many people were there studying with him was the number of shoes that were outside of the house, because you would take your shoes off before you walked into the home. So I got there the next day at 11 a.m. and there were already shoes outside the house. And I thought, oh, okay, so there must be some other people here to study or whatever. So I go in, a couple people sitting there, and I sit down, and Guruji is teaching something, and I'm taking notes and listening and listening and listening. And I'm looking at the clock also, and I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if the music director is here. Maybe it's one of these people. And has Guruji has he maybe forgotten that he told me to come here at 11 for this purpose? But anyway, so I'm taking notes. And at the end, he finishes the discourse and the class, and we all go to receive his blessings at the end of class. And he says to me, oh, Alexandra, I haven't forgotten about your project, your recording project. Come tomorrow at 11 a.m. and the music director will be here and we'll start planning it. And I said, okay. So I leave, and the next day I come, and the same thing happens. He's teaching something else, something unrelated to my project, but spiritually significant, because that's what he taught, spiritual concepts and techniques and methods and practices. So I'm taking notes and listening. And again, I'm kind of looking at the clock and thinking, oh, I wonder if the music director's coming, or again, wondering if Guruji forgot that he said this to me. So the end of the class comes. I go to receive blessings and thank him. And again, he says to me, oh, I didn't forget about, as if he read my mind, I didn't forget about your project. Come tomorrow at 11 a.m. And I think, okay. So the next day I come there, and the same thing happens. The same exact thing happens. And I'm thinking, gee, I am leaving here now. Time is ticking, and I'm leaving here in a few days. I'm not so sure this is going to happen. So a couple days went by like this. I think about 4 or 5 days maybe went by. Same thing. And every day he tells me to come back at the same time, and the music director will be there. So around about the 5th day, I think, oh, I'm leaving back for the States in a few days, and I'm starting to feel a little agitated and a little impatient. And I'm thinking, this needs to happen, because we're going to need time to listen to the recording, to practice what we're doing, to edit it, to make the packaging. And I'm starting to feel agitated at this process. Yes, I'm listening to these discourses every day, but I'm thinking, I explained this to Guruji days ago that, I have this project and he offered to help. So what is going on? So the man who was helping me says to me, you'd better remind Guruji of your, the date that you're flying back. And I said, well, I don't know. I don't want to remind him again. I already told him. And I said, well, why don't you tell him? And he says to me, well, he says, I can't tell him because I'm Indian. And this is where it's kind of funny. He says, that would be very disrespectful because he's the teacher. So I cannot question him. We've already told him of this project. So I can't say anything. But you're a foreigner, so you can, in essence, you can bother him again because you don't really know the protocol. So it won't be considered rude for you, even though we know it's incredibly rude to question the teacher. So I think, okay, I'm going to have to say it again to him. But I really don't want to say anything to him. So I'm thinking, should I say something? Should I say it at the beginning of class? Should I say it at the end? I mean, how can I get this outcome to happen? I'm very motivated and attached to this happening, this trip. So this day I go to class and there's a woman sitting next to me who wasn't there the previous day. And I say hello and she introduces herself and I ask her, where did you travel from? And she says, a city that's farther away. And I said, oh, that's kind of far. And I said, how did you come here? And she said, oh, I took the train. And I said, how long did that take? And she says, 11 hours or 14 hours or something on this train, this overnight train. And I said, oh, that's long. And then I say to her, and what are you here to study? And she says, whatever Guruji has to share with me. And I said, oh. And then I said, and how long are you staying? And she says, however long Guruji says for me to stay. And in that moment, I understood that the lesson for me was to relax into this experience and stop pushing against, and also to accept that those seemingly unrelated, or would I dare say unimportant, and I really would never use that word, teachings, let's say irrelevant teachings that I thought were, and I hate to say this, irrelevant to me. Now, the reason I'm saying that is sometimes what he was teaching was very advanced for me. The Sanskrit was very advanced. So I would think, oh, I'm never going to be able to understand this, really. I'm never going to be able to chant this as easily as the Indian student. So this is not really pertinent for me. And it's almost embarrassing to say this now, because you see the complete and utter surrender of the student, of her saying, the woman sitting next to me, I'm here to receive whatever Guruji has to share with me. I am here for as long as he says to stay. And I understood, after all these years of studying with him, that whatever he was there to offer me was not only not irrelevant, and I know that's a double negative, it was precious. It was priceless. It was relevant in a way that I may never understand. Because as I've said before, for instance, when you travel to a temple and you stand in front of a deity and maybe you don't know that much about the experience, or you don't know that much about the temple or the deity, even though I on the pilgrimages we explain everything and prepare everyone, but still some of it is mysterious, and even though you may not have all the intellectual knowledge, the energetic experience is profound. and palpable and powerful. So that day, I thought, if this recording project happens or not, it is fine. I am here to listen and absorb and understand as much as I can, because the universe, God, source energy, my higher self has put me here, has directed me here at this point in my life. And I am here not only for a reason, but I am here on purpose. I am meant to be here. I am meant to listen to these words, to sit in the energy field of this brilliant and generous teacher. And how ashamed I was to have thought that whatever the teachings were irrelevant to me, because I couldn't understand some of the Sanskrit or whatever it was on an intellectual level. I felt, oh, I'm lagging behind. I'm not going to be able to understand all of this. And later I did, of course. But so I relaxed. I relaxed into the experience, and I consciously vowed to be unattached to the outcome of whether this recording project that I had in my mind would ever occur. So we go through the class, finish the class. I come up to receive blessings from Guruji and say goodbye for the evening. And he says to me, "Oh, Alexandra, tomorrow be here at 11 a.m. because I have arranged everything. We are going to the music studio and the music director will be there. I've arranged the accompaniment and everything is set for tomorrow." And I'm shocked, and I'm thinking, not only had he not forgotten, but he had arranged everything. And then my next thought was, this is kind of funny. I thought, oh no, what is Guruji thinking? I haven't even practiced. And we're going straight into this recording studio? I thought we were supposed to be meeting all these days with the music director. And then I'm thinking, then some more micromanaging comes in. Oh no, what is going on? This is not the way I would have done it. So it was kind of funny. And then the next day I showed up, we went to the studio, everything was beautifully arranged. And Guruji, in his wisdom, knew exactly, of course, what he was doing. And he had everything thought out. It had come to him. And he said, he would say, "Alexandra, okay, for this recording, I'm going to," he'd say, "this is what I would like you to say." And he dictated to me as if it were a script. He knew exactly what he wanted me to express. And he said, "And then I'm going to speak." And then he said, "And then you will say," and he gave me the words he wanted me to express. And he said, "And then I will speak." So he went back and forth like this. And then he said, "And then you will chant this mantra." And so it went back and forth over and over with different mantras. And then afterwards, I was whisked away. I had an Ayurvedic massage later in the day, and my hair was full of oil. And Guruji calls and tells me to go to this photo studio at the time. It's funny, and take photographs for this CD, and this photo is going to be put on the cover, and that other photo, and this photo, and he had it all planned out in his head. And so I just said, I'm going to just go with the flow. I'm going to be unattached to the outcome and see how this turns out and allow it to be. And in the end, the day I was leaving for the airport, I had a box of about 250 or more CDs with different mantras we had recorded. And to this day, I cherish those moments. I cherish the whole experience, the experience of being with him in the recording studio with the other people involved, the entire experience. I can smell the lunch that we ate and put myself back there and hear the sounds of on the street. And for me, though, the whole experience was a lesson in being detached from the outcome and letting the experience evolve and be guided by Guruji's wisdom. So this was a little bit of a long story, but it was to illustrate, and I just thought of it actually as I was speaking here. I didn't intend to tell that. I hope it benefited you, but to allow you to think about something in your life you're working on and release the desire, like that woman sitting next to me, to another wisdom, and know that someone is guiding you, some force is guiding you, you yourself are guiding you, a higher wisdom is guiding you, and therefore be unattached to the outcome. She did not have any agenda. She was here to learn this, this, and this. She was simply there to absorb, to be in the presence of. That's what we do when we go to a temple, a powerful temple. We are there simply to absorb energies and let those energies influence us and guide our life, our lives. So, can you remain unattached to the outcomes in your life? You have a certain way you would like something to go. You've told the universe, I want this to work out this way. This is what I want the end result to be. But can you be so unattached to all the elements that are involved and even the outcome? Because the truth of the matter is the universe may and probably does have something better in store for you. There's a principle in feng shui I just thought of, that when you're living in a home, or in the feng shui that I study, you work with that space to the best of your ability. You beautify it, you listen to it, you energetically activate it. You work with the different rooms and you make it as beautiful as you can. You honor it. Even if you rent the place, you honor it to the best of your abilities. And that space will propel you to the next space, to something better. Now, maybe the next space isn't bigger. Maybe it has some elements that you say, oh, the old space was nicer. I liked the yard in the old space, or I liked the anything. I liked the neighborhood a little bit better, or I liked, you'll have little nuances, just like when you have a relationship. Each relationship teaches you, and each one gives you gifts that you cherish and you appreciate. And yet you are constantly being propelled to the next opportunity for yourself, for your highest growth, And this goes on and on and on. So can you remain so unattached and allow the energies that be to propel you forward, trusting that what you need and desire is being made available to you in every given moment. So if there's some aspect of your life you're working on right now, and you have an outcome in mind, in this moment, if you like, I invite you to give up knowing the exact outcome and give up the notion that if you don't get exactly what you want, something will be wrong. I want to suggest instead that something is right. Something is always right. Something is always at work, bringing you exactly what you need and desire in every moment. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you for listening. May you be at peace with all of your life in this moment, in the next moment, in all the moments that are to come, surrendering to the mystery, the mysteries that are all around you, and trusting that the universe, source energy, God, the divine, your angels, your spirit guides, the deities, the saints, your ancestors, whomever you believe in, that this is a team working for you, supporting you, cheering you on, and helping bring to you exactly, again, what you need and desire, maybe in a little different way than you yourself have imagined. Be open, be open, be open. In this openness, you will be pleasantly surprised and showered with infinite blessings. Om Masato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om Sai Ram. Jai Guruji. Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Hare Krishna. Om Namah Shivaya.